Terrorism. An enemy that can strike us anytime, anywhere. An enemy hard to track, difficult to stop. But around the world, inventors race to design new anti-terror technologies. Jetliners that can repel heat-seeking missiles. Devices that can rescue survivors from high atop skyscrapers. Chemicals that make ordinary walls blast-proof. High-tech weapons that can take out the terrorists before they kill again. Now, uncover the secrets of these new tools. Can technology outsmart terror? Terror and counter-terror. An elaborate game of cat and mouse. In secret hideaways around the globe, terrorist cells may already be planning their next attacks. Since the beginning of 2001, terrorists have killed more than 24,000 people. The killers aim at soft targets, poorly defended, easy to hit. And they've struck a range of targets around the globe. New York, office buildings. London, subways and buses. Madrid, commuter railways. Beslan, Russia, a school. All defenseless in the face of terror. But now, a new generation of technologies is emerging to help keep us safe. Technologies to protect airports and airplanes. Prevent attacks on mass transit. Detect and destroy hidden bombs. Fortify buildings and improve our chances of escape. And the ultimate in anti-terror technology, weapons that can help us get the terrorists before they get us. Since 9/11, perhaps no target haunts us more than the airplane.
Airplanes are an easy target from the point of view of the terrorists. One can hijack airplanes, one can bomb an airplane.
The 9/11 terrorists turned planes into bombs. But there's another scenario. Attacks on planes with shoulder-launched missiles. They're called Man-Portable Air Defense Systems, or MANPADS. Designed to allow one soldier to take out an aircraft. MANPADS helped Afghan warriors defy the Soviet Union in the 1980s. Experts believe thousands of MANPADS disappeared after the Cold War. Stolen or bought on the black market. A terrifying weapon in the wrong hands. November 2002, an airliner carrying 271 people takes off from Kenya's Mombasa airport. On the ground, Al-Qaeda terrorists launch 2 shoulder-fired missiles. But as the airplane takes off, the terrorists narrowly miss. A lucky break. Since 1978, terrorists have fired missiles at up to 35 large aircraft, hitting as many as 24 and killing more than 500 people. Manpads have a typical range from 600 yards to 3 miles and can hit a target as high as 10,000 feet. Jet planes are the most vulnerable on takeoff and landing, when they're flying low and slow. A jet engine's exhaust burns red hot, rising to more than 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a perfect target for a heat-seeking missile. The missile locks on for the kill. In a matter of seconds, the missile reaches the plane and explodes. Their speed and guidance systems can make missiles hard to defend against. But there's a technology designed to trick them into chasing a phantom target. This plain black box is the nerve center of the Flight Guard self-protection system, which uses a new technology designed to defend planes against missiles. Up to 6 antennas around the outside of the plane create a protective bubble of radar around the aircraft. In a fraction of a millisecond, the bubble detects the electromagnetic signature of an incoming attack. It signals the black box. A warning system inside the box instantly calculates the missile's velocity and trajectory. At just the right moment, the Flight Guard system launches a volley of flares. They burn for less than 2 seconds, but the flares are 3 times hotter than the jet engines. That's hot enough to help trick the missile's guidance system. One moment, the deadly rocket follows heat from the plane's engine. The next, it veers off, chasing the flares. The Flight Guard system reacts faster than the pilot, who may not even realize that death was zeroing in on the plane. Anti-missile systems are already in use on military aircraft and the Israeli airline El Al. But Flight Guard can't stop every threat to airlines. Missiles using radar for guidance instead of heat sensors would not be fooled. And Flight Guard is expensive, costing up to $1 million a plane. In the war on terror, a bomb smuggled aboard is considered just as dangerous as a missile fired from outside. Since the Lockerbie bombing in 1988, more than 400 people have died in airplane or airport-related attacks. Until recently, the airline's main defense was X-ray, a technology that dates back to the late 19th century. But in the modern war on terror, X-ray isn't enough. It can't tell the difference between a bar of chocolate and a chunk of TNT. Their density is virtually the same. And X-ray can't detect plastic, a common ingredient in explosives. New technologies take detection far beyond X-rays. Machines that can literally see through people or smell out what terrorists might be trying to smuggle onto an airplane. One of them is called millimeter wave technology. TADAR gets its name from Tadaridae brasiliensis, a kind of bat that uses high-frequency signals to locate prey in the dark. TADAR can see through clothing like an X-ray machine, but unlike X-rays, it uses safer, high-frequency microwaves to read body heat energy. TADAR scans the body, detects body heat energy, and spots objects blocked from it, no matter what they're made of, like a belt or a bomb.
You can see his wallet, and you can see his keys, and you can see his mobile phone, and if he's got a big piece of metal in there or a ceramic knife or something like that, we can spot that.
TADAR isn't foolproof. It still requires the watchful eye of a security guard. Cleverly disguised explosives might get through, and one case shows how easy it can be to hide a bomb. December 22nd, 2001, just 3.5 months after 9/11, 28-year-old Richard Reed boards a flight from Paris to Miami. He tries to light a fuse attached to his sneaker. But passengers and crew overpower him before the shoe bomber can blow up the plane. In Reed's shoe, the FBI discovers 10 ounces of plastic explosive. Impossible to see on X-ray. During Reed's trial, prosecutors show a tape of what might have happened if the shoe had detonated. Properly placed, even a fraction of an ounce of explosive could bring down an airplane. In the aftermath, airports require passengers to remove their shoes when they go through security. This might have stopped Reed. But another new system would likely have increased the chance of catching him. Unlike TADAR and X-rays that rely on sight, it's a super version of one of our other senses, smell. And it's already protecting some of the world's most secure places. Reagan National Airport in Washington, D.C. These passengers aren't just being scanned for weapons. They're also being sniffed by Sentinel-2. It uses a technology called ion mobility spectrometry. Different ingredients have distinct chemical scents. Sentinel-2's nose is so sensitive, it can smell and ID minute traces of more than 40 substances, including explosives. When a passenger steps through Sentinel-2, puffs of air shoot out through dozens of holes. They cover the body from head to toe. The air blast dislodges particles as small as a billionth of a gram. Before they hit the floor, a vacuum sucks the particles into the Sentinel. Inside, the ion mobility spectrometer smells the particles. If a person has been anywhere near a bomb or the materials used to make one, Sentinel's alarms go off. 7 people per minute can pass through a Sentinel-2 device, making it a reasonably fast, effective way to prevent a terrorist from carrying explosives on board. Every year, more than 1 billion people fly on the world's airlines. Each plane is a potential target. But other soft targets are all around us.
To fight terrorism, you need to think out of the box. You need to find new tactics, new measures, and always try to be one step ahead, one step before the terrorists themselves.
To prevent terror, we also need technologies that protect mass transit. Foil chemical and biological attacks. Strengthen buildings. And best of all, technologies that can take out the terrorists before they strike. One country has lived with terror longer than most, Israel. It's become a hotspot for inventors specializing in anti-terror technology. But how can anything stop a suicide bomber? Israel, home to one of the largest bus services in the world. About 1 million people ride its more than 3,000 buses every day. too often, they become targets for terror. January 2004, on city bus number 19 in Jerusalem, a suicide bomber blows himself up, killing 11 people, injuring more than 50. Since 1968, terrorists have waged more than 1,000 attacks on ground transportation targets like buses. Few cities have faced more mass transit attacks than Jerusalem. But stopping a suicide attack is no easy task.
Suicide attack is like a smart bomb. The perpetrator, the suicide attacker, is no more than a platform that actually carry on the explosives. But this platform can think and therefore decide where and when to explode in the most effective manner.
If the primary target becomes risky, a suicide bomber can move to another. And because they intend to die with their victims, suicide bombers need no escape route to complicate their plan. Suicide attacks kill about 4 times as many people as any other kind of terrorist attack. Suicide bombers fit no profile. They can be young or old, male or female. But almost all have something in common: a fierce desire to take their own lives, to kill as many as possible in the name of a cause. Inventors have devised one way to fight back: a bus that can stop suicide bombers before they kill. The secret of the smart bus, it allows the driver to control who gets on, much like an airport security screener. A turnstile forces each passenger to stop before they get on the bus. That gives the driver a critical second to see if someone looks suspicious. If so, the driver pushes a button. The turnstile instantly locks and double doors slam. The attacker is shut out. A bomb exploding inside a bus can cause as many fatalities as a bomb 10 times larger detonated outdoors. Even if the bomb still explodes outside, the bus is designed to minimize damage. An inner layer of plastic keeps the glass from shattering, preventing deadly shards. The technology is simple, but it still relies on the driver and a quick reaction to stop a terrorist from getting on the bus. Buses are just one of Israel's worries. Borders are also on guard against terror. Israel's border with Lebanon, home to Hezbollah, the radical Islamic group. It is, some Israelis say, a tough neighborhood, with some Hezbollah bases less than 100 yards away. Terrorists have crossed into Israel many times before, carrying out deadly attacks. Technology tries to make it harder to sneak through. What looks like a simple chain-link fence is deceptive. Cameras mounted high above it can see a mile away and send real-time, high-resolution video to a border command post. Ditches keep vehicles from crashing through. Fine sand spread along the side can more clearly reveal footprints. The fence bristles with hypersensitive motion detectors and other secret electronic sensors. Many are buried underground to detect the sounds and vibrations of tunneling. Israel began building a security barrier in 2000 along the border with Lebanon. Since then, this fence has helped Israel reduce terrorist attacks by as much as 90%. But surveillance is only part of Israel's defense. When terrorists do get through, they'll face a formidable new weapon. Midnight at an Israeli airport. A sentry vehicle is on the lookout for anyone who might try to sneak across the secured perimeter. This is no ordinary patrol car. There's no one inside. It's called Guardium, an armored robot that knows no fear. It needs no human behind the wheel. Guardium operates on automatic pilot, guarding the airport by patrolling a pre-programmed route. Tonight, this anti-terror technology will face a test.
7835, code 6, 105 North Avenue, 52.
This Guardium is a prototype. A sophisticated computer enables it to make some decisions automatically, to identify threats and to track movement. Guardium uses GPS to patrol a perimeter. It can chase down a suspect at a top speed of 48 miles per hour, about 3 times faster than an average human can run. But when Guardium speaks,
Hello, this is a restricted area. This is your last warning. All or you will fire.
no human is at risk. The voice comes from a far-off control room. Guardium's infrared camera can see trespassers in the dark, and it's armed to stop them. Unlike a human, it's bulletproof. It can carry just about any weapon, an M16, a grenade launcher, tear gas. It can even be mounted with a mine detector. Now that Guardium has the suspects cornered, the human operator takes control.
Stop. We're trespassing on government property. Drop your weapons.
These actors show how Guardium can intervene,
Do not move, it's a restricted area.
if necessary, with deadly force. In this simulation, Guardium shows no mercy. But defending perimeters isn't enough to stop terror. The attackers can come after us where we live, and many are not afraid to use weapons of mass destruction. We need other anti-terror strategies to detect and disarm bombs, to make buildings terror-proof, and to attack the terrorists before they attack us. If we fail, the next terror attack could involve a weapon that's impossible to see, smell, or hear. Until it's too late. A poison gas up to 500 times more toxic than cyanide. In 1988, Iraqi planes bombed the town of Halabja with sarin gas, killing as many as 5,000 civilians. One whiff of sarin and the symptoms could begin in seconds. A runny nose and eyes, blood from the nose and mouth, vomiting, coma, then death. sarin is colorless and odorless. Impossible for humans to detect until they're already dying. A perfect weapon for terrorists seeking maximum casualties.
We are now living in a very dangerous time. These guys, I would argue, would not hesitate to use non-conventional terrorism as well. Chemical, biological, God forbid, maybe even nuclear terrorism.
New technologies try to find these weapons before they strike. And they're already defending the ultimate targets. December 2005, Berlin's Olympic Stadium, 7 months before the World Cup soccer tournament. Soon, at least 1 billion people will be watching the matches at home. And 75,000 fans will be right here, a tantalizing terrorist target. Beefing up security before the big games. A robot already patrols the arena. It's called the OFRO Detect. This $100,000 robot runs around on its own, traveling 4.5 miles an hour and sniffing for toxic killers. From more than 100 feet away, OFRO can detect agents like sarin or biological weapons like anthrax. A future model promises to detect radioactivity from a dirty bomb or a nuclear device. Like the OFRO, another robot named MOSRO also tracks down toxic substances. Experts believe the greatest danger is in confined spaces, like corridors, and areas around turnstiles, rather than the open air where gas disperses quickly. MOSRO patrols indoors and can maneuver in tight spaces where terrorists might hide a weapon, waiting for the right moment to carry out a mega attack. Increasingly, robots are doing far more than detection. They're carrying new tools to disarm or destroy bombs before they explode. June 1996, Manchester, England. The Irish Republican Army gives local police an hour-and-a-half advance warning. A bomb is in the city center. A bomb squad tries to destroy the device by remote control, but fails. The bomb explodes, wounding more than 200 and destroying buildings for blocks around. Human bomb squads often disarm bombs by hand. One false move could lead to instant death or mutilation. Today, increasingly sophisticated robots can do the job for them. The Israeli army used this robot to check a suspected Palestinian gunman for explosives. But the latest robots can do far more than probe. A suspected bomb in the middle of a city. The street is cleared. Time is ticking. Detonation could be moments away. This is the Wolverine, a robot built to deal with the threat. The human operator can be up to 230 feet away. 4 cameras transmit images back to the controller. The Wolverine moves the bag away from the road. Now, the tools get to work. X-ray allows it to see through the fabric. It's a bomb. The robot can carry a variety of tools to disarm it. A cable cutter, a drill, a circular saw, a high-pressure water gun to break the bomb apart. Other robots can even carry a cryogenics pack that freezes explosives, rendering them harmless. Robots like this may be busier than ever, but a backpack is too small to destroy the big targets, the ones that gain worldwide notoriety. For those, terrorists often use cars and trucks to conceal their bombs. They pack more explosives close to the object and make a giant blast. Cities provide a target-rich environment for terrorists. Office buildings, hotels, stadiums, and parking lots. Explosives hidden in vehicles can easily go undetected, giving terrorists enough time to get up close. Another new device is guarding borders and checkpoints to try to prevent that. The car bomb finder uses a type of radiation to penetrate metal and plastic. It scans a vehicle using atometry, a process that identifies the chemical makeup of what's inside. This mobile lab can detect a trace of explosive almost instantly, without placing humans at risk.
For the first time, humanity has in its hands a real tool to fight terrorism.
Its makers call the car bomb finder more foolproof than X-ray. It's also more portable than Sentinel-2. Even when the car's trunk is closed, it can detect chemicals inside. From a foot away, the car bomb finder zaps a car with powerful neutron radiation. The neutrons penetrate deep within the car's contents and cause them to give off gamma rays. Each chemical has its own distinct gamma radiation signature. Gamma ray analysis reveals the chemical formula of any concealed object, determining if the object is explosive with more than 97% accuracy. The U.S. military has ordered the car bomb finder for places like Iraq, where car bombs are a constant threat. New technologies hope to increase the odds of defending some targets by detecting and defusing weapons before they strike. But no anti-terror technology is foolproof. Terrorists will succeed, and when they do, our only hopes are to devise better ways to brace for the attack and to find the next terrorists before they kill again. April 1995, Oklahoma City. An American terrorist shows why we need to make vulnerable buildings more terror-proof. 168 people die in the Murrah Federal Building. But most don't die in the explosion. They die when the building collapses. The blast directly damages only a single support column. But this triggers a collapse of 9 floors. Almost 6 years later, the worst terror attack in American history brings down the World Trade Center. For years, the worst catastrophe architects planned for was a natural disaster like an earthquake. Now, we need new technologies to make buildings terror-proof.
If you can prevent the catastrophic collapse, you go a long way toward cutting down the number of deaths.
Creating real explosions to replicate attacks could cost millions of dollars. At the University of California at San Diego, structural engineer Gilbert Hegemeyer has a way to test the integrity of buildings without blowing them up.
2, 1, going.
Hegemeyer and his team have created a blast simulator. It can duplicate what happens to a concrete column when hit by the impact of thousands of pounds of TNT.
What we're talking about here is the kind of loads that you get from a conventional bomb that's a car bomb at the curb, a truck bomb at the curb.
They charge tanks of hydraulic fluid with nitrogen gas. It's like the bubbles in soda. Pressure builds up in the tanks, creating an explosive impulse, like a can of soda shaken, then opened. The release pressure propels steel plates against columns with the same force as an explosion.
It's faster, it's cheaper, it's high quality data. You can get your cameras in there with zoom lenses right on the stuff. So we can begin to understand how these structures fail, what the failure sequence is, and how to protect the structural elements.
With the blast simulator, what used to require months and large quantities of explosives can be accomplished without dynamite. And as many as 15 times a day. The data obtained here will go into a database to help architects plan for terror. It will help them design tougher, harder, blast-resistant buildings. But we can't demolish every building vulnerable to terror and start over. We also need a way to strengthen existing buildings. Unlike the jets that hit the Twin Towers, American Airlines Flight 77 destroyed only a portion of the Pentagon. In the days after, it seemed more critical than ever to find ways to fortify buildings against attacks. One solution, a substance called Line-X polymer. Originally, polymer coatings made truck beds more durable, but it's also a great way to strengthen buildings. The polymer sprays onto a wall just like paint, but it quickly hardens into a protective, elastic layer that can turn a concrete block into a bouncing brick. An explosion like the ones at the World Trade Center can turn concrete to rubble. The blast pulverizes ordinary blocks and collapses a wall. But a cement block wall treated with the polymer is so tough, half a ton of TNT can't bring it down. The polymer doesn't just strengthen individual blocks. It bolsters the mortar among them and makes the wall more flexible. The polymer already covers many walls at the Pentagon. But no amount of polymer or other blast-resistant technologies could have saved the World Trade Center towers. One of the most horrifying memories of that day was the realization that for so many, there was no hope of escape. The worst nightmare is when there's nowhere to run and no way to get down to the ground. Many elevators malfunction when buildings catch fire. Stairwells can get blocked, trapping those on top floors. They can either wait for rescue or jump, hoping to survive the fall.
When I used to live in a high floor, I always felt a kind of a fear. What will happen if I won't be able to go to use the stairs or elevators? What will I do? Will I jump?
Ilanit Pesach is the CEO of Mosroth, a wire manufacturing company that has designed an escape device named the Spider. It's a potential lifesaver, based on technology mountain climbers have used for decades. A body harness and a cable designed to rappel down the side of a building rather than a sheer rock face. The heat-resistant cable attaches to a hydraulic system anchored near a window. The device lowers a person down at 3 to 6 feet per second, walking pace. If the rate of descent increases to 8 feet per second, an emergency friction brake automatically kicks in. The Spider can hold up to 350 pounds, allowing 2 persons of average weight to descend at a time. But the $3,000 Spider can only save people from a height of 50 stories or less. Each of the Twin Towers was more than twice as tall. Only 4 people who were above the plane's impact point survived. Since 9/11, inventors around the world have vastly improved our defenses against terror. But perhaps the ultimate anti-terror technologies allow us to take the offensive. New weapons designed to find and kill the enemy, and in some cases, bring them back alive to reveal their secrets. August 1998. U.S. President Bill Clinton launches up to 50 Tomahawk missiles at al-Qaeda camps in Afghanistan. Intelligence reports claim Osama bin Laden is there, meeting with other top al-Qaeda leaders. The missiles kill 20 suspected terrorists, but miss their primary target. Just 3 years later, bin Laden masterminds the 9/11 attacks. The war on terror requires more than missiles. Attacks by remote control don't always get the bad guys. And a missile can destroy valuable intelligence. New technologies offer a better way. Airborne surveillance and new weapons that can take the fight to the terrorists. A special ops team gets word of a secret terror camp. Mission: move in and capture a key suspect alive.
Stay low, target in sight.
They carry a new generation of weapons that allows them to see the field more clearly than ever before.
I want video feed on the target.
First objective: scope out the terrorist camp and see how many are on guard and where. Their accomplice: a miniature unmanned aerial vehicle, a mini UAV. In just minutes, this eye in the sky will be cruising overhead, ready to spy. It's small and light, less than 15 pounds, and 8 feet from wingtip to wingtip.
Launch for eye.
Once aloft, the Skylark UAV can fly at up to 46 miles per hour, staying in the air for 2 hours at a time. Cameras, mounted in the nose end, send a real-time video feed to laptops on the ground. As the team moves in, a controller can order the Skylark to follow the action.
Unit 6 to 3. Good to move?
Skylark's video cameras reveal the camp's exact layout and the position of every sentry. The building with the most activity may be where their target is. Snipers head out first. They'll provide covering fire as the unit moves in. Using thermal goggles that detect body heat, the snipers send their commander constant updates on enemy movements. 0 hour. The commandos move in.
Let's stay low. Get on target.
Even with body armor, a soldier in enemy territory has a critical vulnerability. Every time he peers around a corner, he exposes himself to hostile fire. A new combat gun does the dangerous part for him. It's called the corner shot. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Amos Golan invented the corner shot after years of fighting enemy forces in Israel. He's seen too many of his soldiers die from a shot to the head while looking for the enemy around a wall.
For a few years, I was thinking what to do and how to develop some weapon that will save the life of my soldiers.
Military units and law enforcement agencies around the world are already taking the corner shot on combat missions. The exact details of the technology are a trade secret, but here are the basics. Take a gun, mount a silencer, laser sight, light source and video camera. Connect them to a hinge mechanism and a grip that holds a trigger and camera monitor. With a click, the corner shot snaps in half and goes from a straight shooter to a weapon that can literally shoot around walls. Without exposing their position, soldiers can see through the attached camera monitor, allowing both safety and deadly accuracy. Another version of the corner shot can fire high explosive grenades or tear gas.
Unit 3 to Unit 4. Hostile ahead. 12 o'clock behind the wall. Unit secure.
A laser beam marks the target with a point of light that allows the rifleman to hit a target more than 300 feet away.
10 for him to do a hold one like this, hold one like this.
Now the team has to get inside the main building. In the past, a soldier would have to approach the door and set explosives, exposing himself to the enemy. Another new weapon makes it safer.
Hit the gate.
The Simon door breaching grenade, fired from any rifle. It's designed to blow a door off its hinges without breaking it apart. The secret? A plastic shaft at the front that strikes the door and sets off an explosion. An impulse wave blasts the door and pries it loose, clearing the way. By keeping the door intact, the Simon reduces the chance of fragments injuring any hostages who may be inside.
Gate is down, I repeat, gate is down.
The anti-terror unit clears the top level of the building, searching for the ringleader. He has nowhere to go. In this simulation, they achieved what no missile could do, getting a top terrorist alive. New technologies have bolstered our defenses and given us new ways to attack terror head-on. But the terrorists are always thinking and planning. They too look to technology to improve their chances. With so many soft targets all around us, they still hold an advantage. In the cat and mouse game that is still just beginning, technology offers perhaps our best chance to outsmart terror.